There are two ways that you can create a Nearpod lesson using a current slideshow that you have. The first way to do this is right from the slideshow that you actually want to turn into a Nearpod lesson. So this is a slideshow that I'm using for the Learn conference, and I know that this is something I want to be able to continually edit. I want to be able to change, move around. So because I want the slides to look a certain way, I'm going to continue to edit them inside of Google Slides, and I am going to use the add-on of Nearpod. So it's going to say open Nearpod, and then over on the side next to my slides where I still have all of the capabilities of Google Slides, I also now have the ability to add in the different Nearpod activities and tools. So what it ends up looking like is you've got your slides here that you can tell this was the theme that I used. And then these slides right here represent different Nearpod activities. And so let's say that after this slide, I want to add an open-ended question or a quiz. All I have to do is click on the question, click on the activity that you want, and add it right into your slideshow. You'll see that you have a bunch of different options here. So this whole thing is about using check-ins. So I am going to ask the question, how do you use check-ins in your class? You can change, you have some ability to change text and to make it bigger or smaller. And then you are going to decide a couple of things. Do you want to give them a time limit on how long? And I'm going to say, I only want them really to be able to have 30 seconds to answer this question. I don't want to spend too long on it. You could add a video, you can add an image, some other kind of media, a GIF, whatever you want to be displayed where this question will be underneath whatever media you have. And then you can decide if you want students to be able to give you an audio recording instead of just a typed out response. Once you have that done, you can press save, and it will save this activity into your current slide. So you can go into any of the slideshows that you have and really only modify them just a little bit by adding in polls and quiz questions and even trying out the gamification features. You can add videos. And one of the neat things about adding a video through the Nearpod add-in is that it can stop the video and ask them a question in the middle of the video. So then you have a little bit more control over the watching portion of this. Once you want to give the lesson, you are going to do it through Nearpod. So I'm going to press save and go to Nearpod. And my lesson is right here. And this is the place that I'm going to start the lesson from and launch it for the students. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, I want to do live participation lesson. And the students on their own devices are going to, they're going to go to nearpod.student, and then they're going to put in this code. Once they have that code in there, they will be logged into the lesson. And at that point, you are going to go through the lesson. There is a second way that you can do a Nearpod lesson. Sometimes we might have a set of slides that we know are really not going to change. The information on them is basically going to be the same, and it makes more sense to simply edit them right inside of Nearpod. And so in that case, what you would do is you'd say, I'm going to do a new Nearpod lesson. And we would then come down here to upload files. And this is where you would choose maybe a PowerPoint or a different file on your computer. You can even use a PDF if it's a bunch of PDFs that you want to include, or just some pictures. In this case, I have writing history PowerPoint. I am going to open this, and what it's going to do is turn each one of those slides into an image. But the advantage here is that while I won't be able to edit the individual slides, I can see the view of where the activities are going, and I can have a little bit more control of what things are going to look like. So if I want an activity to come right after this, I would go here and press that I would like to add in a virtual reality field trip. And then I have the ability to choose different tours from all over the world. I want to add in a Machu Picchu tour, and I can drag and drop that wherever it is that I want it. So you really do have a lot of options. Remember, this way it's turning these slides into images. So you won't actually be able to edit the slides if you're doing it in Nearpod, but you have a little more control over the activities.